Okay, so we're just going to finish off the last page of the second mitzvah, page 39. The second mitzvah was no other, lo yi elicha, about no other gods but God. Well, the people are connecting. This is so exciting that people are connecting. Let's have a few more cameras. Oh, there's Jill. Look, she got on and everything. You see that? Modern technology. And she even has her camera on. Isn't that a good example for others? Okay. So let's, oh, look, Shoshana Silver. Oh, this is getting very exciting. Okay. So yes, here we are. A few more cameras. Come on. So as I was saying, as new people are tuning in, turning on, there you go, Shoshana. Yes, I see you. So we're just finishing up the lo yi elicha, no other gods, nothing else but Hashem, the second mitzvah. There's nothing else. No other gods, no other gods. Watch out for those other gods. Okay, so by constantly eliminating any mixed loyalties or foreign allegiances, we become whole and complete in our sincere commitment to God alone. Okay, then I have footnote 10 circled. Let's take a quick look at footnote 10, at least a little bit of it. Okay, that's on page 241. Hold your page. I'm just going to read it. The injunction to be whole and complete with God is explicitly stated in the Torah in the verse, be whole with God your God. Tamim tiyeh b'Hashem Elokecha. Does everyone remember that? Mitzvah explicitly stated in the Torah. Although one could consider this a separate mitzvah, according to the Rambam, it is not counted as one of the 613, for those Rambam fans among us. He considers it a general mitzvah, as he explains in his introduction to Sefer HaMitzvahs. In contrast, Nachmanides, the Ramban, does consider this verse an independent mitzvah, which he defines as belief in divine providence. Now, I love that. I love that. Let's go over that concept again. So where it says, Tamim tiyeh b'Hashem Elokecha, be whole, be tamim, with Hashem your God, the Ramban says this is a mitzvah as the belief in Hashgacha Pratis. That's very appealing to us people, because as I mentioned last week, last few Shabbosim, when we've had a lot of new people, we've had as the say your name and your favorite concept in Chassidus. It's been so successful. I recommend it highly. And you can always give another one for like to 3 foods to the desert island, but people generally like this one. And yes, Hashgacha Pratis has often been the winning favorite concept in Chassidus. It is amazing, like the fact that we're exactly here right now, all of us at this moment. It's Hashgacha Pratis. Okay, so now we're back to page 39. Sincerity, tamimus, is the inner experience of the divine power of Hod, which is thanksgiving, corresponding to the soul of Aaron. As noted earlier, we had gotten a chart of everything. And just remember that Hod is the fifth midas from Chesed, and Aaron is the fifth, Ushpizim, the fifth. They go together. They go together. Okay. Throughout Tanakh, the attribute of sincerity, tamimus, is linked idiomatically to the verb to walk, as in he who walks sincerely. Okay, let's go over that carefully. This is very important. Okay, holech tamim, he who walks sincerely, is from Tehillim 15:2. And there's a meditation that Rabbi Yitzhak taught of step forward with your left foot. Okay, we're going to get up to why we're starting with the left foot, but step forward with your left foot and think or say holech tamim, and then step forward with your right foot and think Yelech betach, which means will go with confidence. He who walks sincerely, he who walks in tamimus, which is sincerely, will walk in confidence. Holech tamim Yelech betach. It's 4 words. The left foot goes forward on holech tamim. The right foot goes forward on yelech betach. He who goes with sincerity, with tamimus, will go with confidence. Okay, that is a good walking meditation, and we're all supposed to walk, walk, walk. Try it out when you're walking by yourself or with a friend who wants to do it also. Holech tamim yelech betach, or as the sentence continues, or the noun way path, as in ashrei tamimei derech, happy are those of the sincere path. And tamimei derech, that was from Tehillim 119:1, which was today's chitas of Tehillim. That's so exciting. It's hashgacha pratis, my favorite concept of the moment in Hasidus. Okay. So ashrei tamimei derech. So we walk the path of life on earth. So we're on page 39 in the middle. In Kabbalah, walking is associated particularly with the left leg. The left leg controls the sense of walking, corresponding to the divine power of Hod, the spatial parameter of below. Okay, so again, the left leg. So this is very, because you might think that you would start walking with the right foot. But no, please try very hard to figure out which is the left foot. Think carefully, because left and right, as we spoke about in terms of the 6 directions, is the last one for a child to master. So yes, okay. The last paragraph on 39, as we have seen, the first and the 6 constant mitzvahs entails a consciousness of walking from strength to strength. That's Emunah, which is above us, in the eternal state of the world to come. Its complement, the second mitzvah, entails a consciousness of walking from strength to strength below in this world. So strength to strength is a really great one. It's from Tehillim, as we know. Both of them entail a gradual process that progresses through time. Together with this sense of time comes a consciousness of the above-below coordinate of space. So this is the first coordinate that a baby is aware of. Up, down goes before front, back, and front, back goes before right, left, which is quite advanced. I mean, when we learn how to read, that's the time we really have to know which is the left side and which is the right side, because, you want to read in the right direction. Okay, now we're getting to the really exciting part, the third mitzvah, the unity of God. So to the front is the mitzvah, Shema Yisrael, Hashem Elokeinu, Hashem Echad, page 43. So the unity of God, this is the third of the 6 constant mitzvahs. This statement, known as the Shema, is our quintessential affirmation of the unity of God and also the third constant mitzvah. It mandates us, it commands us to hear Hashem's absolute oneness in the inner ear of our soul and to contemplate his perfect unity. So this is going to take a little meditation, but we're going to be better at it at the end of this chapter than we are right now at the beginning. Although in this world we cannot see with our physical eyes Hashem's absolute unity in creation, right? Like when we look at all this stuff, it's hard to look at all this stuff and know that Hashem is one. So therefore, for which reason we cover our eyes when proclaiming Shema Yisrael, we can hear or understand it in our hearts. Now, no one told me that before. I know we cover our eyes, but it really makes sense. So we're not distracted. We can meditate on the unity of God, and Shema is to hear, and we can hear it and understand it in our hearts. It's something beyond our power of seeing, but we can understand it in our hearts. Now we're up to all is one on page 43. Here, we begin our meditation by recalling that all experiences impinging on our consciousness originate ultimately from one single source, namely Hashem. We're going to go over this long sentence, and then we further contemplate the truth that Hashem, whose essence encompasses all being, is the only ultimate reality. So let's go over, there's an important sentence for you. We begin our meditation. All experiences impinging on our consciousness, which means all the circumstances of our life, all the circumstances of our life come from Hashem. I mean, this is, we spoke about this a lot when we were learning transforming darkness into light. And I found it a revolutionary concept that there's no mistakes. It's all from Hashem. And it's also the kindest way that we can learn the lessons that we need to learn on becoming deeper people and more compassionate people and less judgmental people. All that stuff, Hashem was there with us. It's like an amazing thought if we think about it. I mean, we've learned that most people were traumatized in life. It's very hard to get, I'm laughing and crying, but okay, we were traumatized, but there's a healing. There's a healing from reliving trauma, And the fact that Hashem was with us when the original trauma, Hashem is with us now, right? Hashem is with us now. That's not so complicated. And Hashem was with us for the initial trauma. Okay, so all the circumstances of our life come from God, and then we further contemplate the truth that God, whose essence encompasses all being, is the only ultimate reality. So we need to meditate on that. We have to make that more and more something that we can go back to, because it means Hashem is always with us. Hashem is always with us, and Hashem is the ultimate reality. Okay, and we're encompassed by Hashem's essence, like Hashem's essence, Atzmos Ein Sof, is all around us, in us, surrounding us. It's like we're not alone. And this is one of the basic concepts in Hasidus, that Hashem's essence is with us now, because we spoke about before in the 1790s in Vilna, they would get into fist fights in the street about whether Tzimtzum was Kipashuto or Lo Kipashuto, of whether the Arizal's doctrine of Tzimtzum was that, as Kipashuto means literal, as the Misnagdim translated it, understood it, which means that in the Tzimtzum, the Arizal's concept of Tzimtzum, where Hashem created this empty space in which to create the universe, he contracted himself in order to make an empty space. So they felt that you couldn't say that Hashem is here, Hashem is there, Hashem is truly everywhere, because that wasn't covered of Hashem. They felt Hashem removed himself and looked at and had hashgacha on the world from a distance, because they felt it wasn't covered to say that Hashem is in the outhouse, Hashem is in the garbage. But the Hasidim taught that Hashem's essence is just as is with us now as much as it was before creation. Like Hashem's essence is right here, we can brush our teeth, Hashem's essence is right there. And his light wasn't removed, it was only concealed, and it's our job to reveal it. Okay, so Hashem is the only reality. Turning to page 44. In our contemplation of the second mitzvah, that was nobody else but Hashem, no other gods, we negated all forms of idolatry, realizing that this worldly causation possesses no ultimate reality. That, in other words, Hashem is the ultimate reality. Hashem is the ultimate reality. Whatever, all causation, ultimately we can trace back to Hashem. The same idea. Now we come to the deeper realization that in truth, God is the only ultimate reality. There is no other besides him. Lo yiyelecha, nothing but Hashem. Unbelievable. The logical order of the first three of the 6 constant mitzvahs is thus, that first we believe in the existence of God. And we have to really be aware, where are we holding in our belief in the existence of God? Because there could be a few little areas we need to, tighten up there. And okay, so that's the first. The first, we believe in the existence of God. Then we negate all other gods. Okay, that's no longer so difficult. And then we come to the full recognition of God's absolute existence as the one and only true existence. Okay. Faith in particular, whereas the first of the 10 mitzvahs is referred to in Kabbalah and Hasidus as faith in general, emunah b'chlal, this mitzvah to unify God in faith is referred to as faith in particular, emunah b'frat. While faith in general is above us, faith in particular is in front of us. We're going to be speaking more about why the mitzvah of uniting God, the unity of God, is in front of us. Faith in general implies the experience of God being with us and looking over us from above at all times. It takes place within the context of hashgacha pratis. Hashem's transcendence is not removed from reality, but oversees reality. So I like that idea also of connecting even Hashem's transcendence, makiv, sovev, is overseeing reality, divine providence, hashgacha pratis. Faith in particular implies the recognition of God's absolute unity in all facets of reality as they present themselves in the forefront of our consciousness from moment to moment. Let's go over that one. The recognition of Hashem's absolute unity in all facets of reality. I can see I need to work on that one. I'd like that. Does seem like a big improvement. Don't you think life will be just more thrilling and exciting if we recognize Hashem's absolute unity in all facets of reality? Yes, as they present themselves in the forefront of our consciousness from moment to moment. So this actually reminds me of something that I learned from YYJ in 770, that every thought we have, like everything is Hashem. Like the energy of a thought, the energy that's giving life to a thought is coming from Hashem. So sometimes we don't think that. We can think that our thoughts are our private business. But no, it's Hashem that's giving life to our thoughts. So we want to, purify our thoughts so Hashem can have a dwelling place in our mind. It's a big deal. It's a lifetime activity. So don't feel bad that we don't have it down now, that sometimes poor Hashem, it could be hard for him to be dwelling in my mind. I feel bad. I actually do. Okay, but you get the idea. It's a lifetime idea. So what presents ourselves in the forefront of our consciousness, our thoughts, Hashem's unity. Not only does Hashem oversee reality, but he's the very essence of all reality. Okay, now this next paragraph, all is good, is something we could really spend a few weeks on. This is really, this will sound familiar for people who were there with us in transforming darkness into light, but now we're going to look at it from another angle. Okay, the implications of this fundamental tenet of our faith in God's absolute unity are wide-ranging and profound. So it's wide-ranging. If we can really get this down, Hashem's unity, let's see what's going to happen. For if everything we experience comes from and ultimately is Hashem, who is obviously the ultimate good, then everything must be ultimately good. And that's a quote that in footnote 7 for those that are looking inside. It's a quote from Tanya, Ageres HaKodesh, chapter 11, which is a very famous chapter because, this idea that everything must be ultimately good, this is what it means to be a chassid. This is what it really means to be a chassid. And it's very challenging because we don't, it's like beyond our sense of mind. It's something we can really grasp only in our soul. Because you could say, wait a minute. What about this? And what about, wait a minute. No problem with, it's a challenge. It's a challenge, but it's what it means to be a chassid. So it's something that everything must be ultimately good. It makes me feel very good to think. I can see the steadiness that it adds to our mental health, believing that. It's a really good foundation for mental health. The fact that something appears to be bad and when met out, when dealt out by humans, is indeed is met out by humans is indeed a punishable wrong. In other words, people are responsible for what they do to us, even if we can see that it's all coming for Hashem and it has to be ultimately good. They are responsible. So the fact that something appears to be bad is only due to the limited scope of our vision of what has transpired, its immediate and long-term ramifications, distorted as well, but by our own idea of how things should be. So, I mean, this could be a 3-year course, because it's something that takes effort. It's saying that everything comes from Hashem, which means everything is ultimately good, even though we don't understand it. Okay, so we're going to work, and that's Tanya chapter 11. We're going to get up to that soon. We're going to start working our way through Ageres HaKodesh, and we're going to get up to chapter 11. So this is, this is something we need to meditate on. But it's a very, very important idea. It's really a fundamental idea. The more, so Baruch Hashem, we're learning it and talking about it. Okay, the sages say that when one gets angry, it is as if he is serving idols. We're going to look at footnote 8. Okay, we're in chapter 5, footnote 8. Oh, now this is very interesting. So it's here on page 243, but I'm just going to read you what it says. So it says footnote 8. What is it? What's footnote 8 for? When one gets angry, it is as if he is serving idols. I'm sure everyone has heard this idea before, and this is giving the source. So it appears in Zohar. It appears in Zohar Chadash. It appears in Tikunei Zohar. It appears in Mishnah Torah. The Rambam writes it there in Deos. In his commentary to Avos 2:10, he mentions it. It's in Gemara Shabbos 105b, Nedorim 22b, and Tanya Ageres HaKodesh 25. So this is everyone, everyone says so. Everyone says, all of those sources, all individually write, when one gets angry, it is if he is serving idols. Okay, so we have to talk about that. Not so pleasant, right? A little tough. Wow. Okay, but it's good to know. It's good to know why. This is a powerful, one could even say extreme statement. But upon reflection, what really causes anger? When things don't go my way, I get angry. The world is not conforming to my vision of perfection. But since Hashem is ultimately in control, this is tantamount to saying that I consider my version of the world better than his. This is a subtle form of idol worship. I am enthroning my intellect and ego and paying homage to them. Okay, we need to talk about this. Okay, so there's a story that we've mentioned before, that the Maggid of Mezrich, the student of the Baal Shem Tov, who was the teacher of the Alter Rebbe and many of the Hasidic people who went on to become Hasidic leaders all over Europe. The rest of the Mezrich Maggid once asked this elite group of students, including the Alter Rebbe, who's the youngest of the students, and asked, would you do anything differently if you were God? And many of them said, yeah. But the Alter Rebbe said, no, he wouldn't do anything differently if he were God. And later it said that Rabbi Levi Yitzchak of Berdichev, who was also one of the students, a few years later said, no, he does agree with the Alter Rebbe. So this is the idea. This is the idea. I'm laughing. I mean, we do sometimes think, yes, I think my version of the universe, I think okay, so we get the idea. It's hard to consider our version of the universe better than how Hashem is doing it. So we don't understand. So we have to, so Amunah, the emunah in Hashem is the emunah that Hashem is good. So we can see from just talking about it, like empowers us. Learning this from Rav Yitzchak, who's quoting the Tanya, the Baal Shem Tov, this empowers us to do it. It's not like we're just learning ideas, and they are interesting ideas. Yes, we like ideas, but they are empowering us to be able to live with these ideas. That's the benefit of us learning together and for bringing together. We're also empowering each other to live with these ideas. And you can see these are transformative ideas, and they're based on the unity of God. Okay, so I want to just share one thing. Right now we're in between the yortzites of the Ramak, Rabbi Mordechai Devira. His yortzeit was the 23rd of Tammuz, and the Arizal, whose yortzeit is coming up. Highly recommends it. Hey, Tammuz, if you're free, good time to be in Svat by the caver of the Arizal. So the Ramak was a great teacher in Svat. He took all the Kabbalah up to that point and wrote an encyclopedia of Kabbalah and gave it the name Pardes Rimonim, which means a garden of pomegranates. I think that's a very poetic name for an encyclopedia of Kabbalah. He also wrote Tamar Devora, which is about midos and men being especially nice to their wives because we keep them from sin. Now that shouldn't be too hard, should it? Okay, all right. I'm laughing and crying. Okay, so the Arizal, who his Kabbalah is really what Chassidus is based on. You can see how often the Alter Rebbe quotes the Arizal in Tanya. So the Arizal came to Tzfat in just before 1570 to be a student of the Ramak. It was just before the Ramak passed away, and he spoke. He gave a hesped, a eulogy, at the funeral of the Ramak, and it's really related to what we're learning. So I'd like to share it since we're in between these two yurtzites. So, okay, so he said, and the Rebbe commented on this, the Gemara brings down 4 people who only died because, the Gemara said they died because of the bite of the snake. But we've learned this before, so if it sounds familiar, this is just a review. The bite of the snake. So they had no sins. It was like Yishai, the father of David, Amram, the father of Moshe, I think one of the sons of David. I can't quite, this is just from the top of my head. Okay, I don't have my notes in front of me, but you get the general idea. And then the Arizal said about the Ramak that he died because of the tree, Tola al ha'etz. We know every pasuk in Torah has many levels of meaning, and the hang on the tree, Tola al ha'etz, is talking about if God forbid someone has based in, says this person should be stoned to death, which was extremely, extremely rare that it happened because it was almost impossible for it to happen. Someone had 2 witnesses and a warning, and they had to say, I understand the warning. But at any rate, the Torah says such a person should be hung on the tree, Tola al ha'etz, and then buried that night because everybody has to get buried the day that they died. Okay, even this poor person. So Tola al ha'etz. So the Arizal takes this pasuk, and he explains Tola al ha'etz as because of the tree, depending on the tree. Tola also means that, depending on the tree. So what does that mean? So the Rebbe asks, what's different between what the Gemara says? Is the Arizal just adding a 5th name to what the Gemara says, or is the Arizal saying something revolutionary? And the Rebbe says the Arizal is saying something revolutionary. How is this? How is it revolutionary? Because saying that with the bite of the snake is like, things happen to us. If we say it's the person who did it to us, that's the bite of the snake. It's like that person bit me. It's the bite of the snake. I suffered because of the bite of the snake. But if we say it's because of the tree, it means who planted that tree? It was Hashem who planted the tree. Hashem wanted that tree to be there. Not only that, Hashem called their attention to the tree. Hashem said to Adam, don't eat from that tree. And we know the the banned book becomes the bestseller. Hashem caused his attention. There was a whole garden of beautiful trees. He might not have noticed that tree, but Hashem caused his attention to the tree. So ultimately, blame it on the tree means it's coming from Hashem. Hashem planted the tree. Hashem wanted it to happen. Hashem wanted it to come down this way. So we see the difference, how on a personal psychological level, if I say, take it, no, it's not the bite of the snake, it's Hashem, you can see the difference. You can see the difference if we go back, when we, in our little library of traumatic experiences, if we open up a little file cabinet of traumatic experiences and understand, as you know, as each one arises again in our consciousness, that Hashem, for reasons we don't understand, wanted us, me, to have this experience. There has to be something in this experience to make me a more sensitive person, a better person. I have to use the experience. That's the transforming darkness into light. Okay, so I felt I had to share that story about the Ramak and the Arizal, because it is so relevant. What the Arizal is saying is this idea that it's coming from Hashem. It's ultimately good. Very deep. Okay. And this again, so then the next paragraph is talking about when we get angry, it's like serving idols. Okay, so we're the third paragraph down here on page 45. And as we move along, of course, when humans are to blame for the wrongs of the world, it is at times necessary to show anger in care for them and for the world, and in order to rectify the wrongs they have caused and to influence them to change their ways. However, when this can be accomplished in ways of pleasantness, without even appearing to get angry, such an approach is preferable. And this idea, the ways of pleasantness, is a quote from Mishlei. The Rebbe would often mention that in letters, to do things in ways of introducing someone to Yiddishkeit, to do it in ways of pleasantness. And anger, and when he's speaking about anger here, when there's a place for anger, it's a controlled anger for the benefit of the other person. Nor our normal anger is like, you know, we just can't take it anymore, shave up, you know, whatever. But this anger is not because of our own suffering. It's like caring about the person, and it's a controlled anger for the benefit of another person. It's very different. We understand, it's speaking strongly, but if we can do it in ways of pleasantness, highly recommended here by Rav Yitzhak. And the Rebbe often notices, if you look, you know, we often, there's really an idea of looking at the Rebbe's letters. You'll see often there's a quote of this line from Mishlei, to be accomplished in ways of pleasantness. Okay, so that's something we can certainly understand. So bottom of page 45. Now, of course, not everyone who gets angry consciously realizes this, but the point is that constant awareness of the unity of God is the surest antidote for anger. Now, this is very helpful information. So we have to think how this will fit into our lives. Constant awareness of the unity of God. Okay. So again, it is one of the 6 constant mitzvahs. It is one of the 6 constant mitzvahs. We understand that. So constant awareness of the unity of God is the surest antidote for anger. Okay, so there you go. So certainly speaking about this and empowering each other and being empowered by Rav Yitzhak to be aware of the unity of God as one of the 6 constant mitzvahs. We'll have to see where it helps us in our anger. And I see we're actually in the middle of a sentence, because there's a comma after anger. We're going to turn the page. I'll just start the sentence again from the beginning and then turn the page. Now, of course, not everyone who gets angry consciously realizes this, but the point is that constant awareness of the unity of God is the surest antidote for anger, as well as a host of other psychological maladies we would all do better without. Okay, so it's interesting. Some of this, the Torah Sanefesh, the psychology of Torah, is giving us a foundation for our mental health. We already spoke about when we were learning and transforming darkness into light, that that shiftless humility is very good for mental health. As the Alter Rebbe says in chapter 30 of Tanya, that that we should feel humble. We should feel shiftless before the lowest of the low mamish. Real shiftless, we could be humble. We could speak to any person from a humble place, not feeling better than that person. So he says, Kal Shebakali Mamish. To be able to speak to every person from a place of humility is a foundation of mental health. And now another great foundation of mental health that we're learning about is a constant awareness of the unity of God. And we understand this. We understand how these are really great building blocks. And even if we didn't learn it from birth, and even if we didn't learn it from when we were 6 years old, we can learn it now. That constant awareness of Hashem's unity is the surest antidote for anger. So again, on page 40, top of 46, hence the importance of keeping this awareness in the front of us at all times. Again, so we have this, we're in the middle of learning the third mitzvah, the unity of God, and we're keeping this awareness in front of us because one of the benefits of keeping the awareness of Hashem's unity in front of us is that it will keep us from getting angry. And it's good for our mental health, keeping awareness of Hashem's unity. And of course, we're learning about it together and empowering each other. So I think I might have time for one more paragraph. Let's look. So Hashem's mercy. As the sages teach, the name Havaya signifies Hashem's attribute of mercy, whereas the name Elokim signifies his attribute of judgment. So we've learned that Havaya goes with Rachamim, and Elokim signifies Gevurah, judgment. Accordingly, this mitzvah can be interpreted. Here, Hashem, Havaya, the all-merciful, is our God, Elokim, who appears to us in nature through his attribute of judgment. Yet, God, Havaya, is one. All is but an aspect of his absolute mercy. Wow, so these are very, very powerful ideas. You can see. So, and this is, so we're going to be, so this is what we're going to, we're going to spend some time. We're going to continue next week studying this chapter. Highly recommended to get the book. I might be able to put up, I know for the morning class, Hindel Swerdloff has put up pages from the book. Does anyone not have the book to look on that would like to see these pages? Anyhow, we're going to take a picture. So put on your cameras and you can let me know whether you have the book, or you would be so happy and grateful if I put some pages up. So for the people that already have the cameras on, you could just hold up the book if you happen to have the book. Yes, it's very, yes, so I might put some pages up for those that don't have the book, because I have them, it's very easy for me. So we're gonna take a picture, and then in a few minutes, everyone who is able to stay will be able to hear Rabbi Eli's wonderful class. So let's take our picture for Rav Yitzhak to have refuah shalema. We want him to be well and strong and be able to teach us more Panemius Torah. Okay, so get ready. A few more people. Come on, put on your cameras. Aviat, Sapora, Ilana. Okay, we'll be happy with these people. 1, 2, 3. Great. Thank you. Thank you. So thank you all for coming. Mwah. Love you all. See you next Sunday, Emir Hashem. Kol Tuv. All the best.